Good evening. This is Maestro Cortello with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today we have a 2v2 on Selenon Fissure. Our first player today is VoodooShaman, playing as appears to be Blood Raven's Force Commander. The Force Commander is a tanky melee hero who focuses on tying things up, tanking damage, instead of letting the rest of his army take damage. He can also punch vehicles and disrupt melee units with his battle cry. His teammate is Stoned Commissar. This melee hero is slightly tanky. He's certainly not as durable as the Force Commander, or rather, with his energy shield, he's about as durable as the Force Commander without an energy shield. He focuses a little bit more on some other things. He can buff his own troops by shooting them in the head, giving them a 100% damage increase. And he also has that Emperor's Wrath later on. Their opponents, first off on the red team, we got Trippy as an Orange Knight Bro Captain. He is playing as the Grey Knight Bro Captain in reality. Yet another tanky melee hero. This one walking around in Terminator armor. It is in fact Terminator armor. And he is just going to tie things up. Gets a lot of his best warriors, or certainly his best weapon warriors, in Tier 2. Although he does still have a few useful things in Tier 1, certainly the Canticle of Absolution good in a number of matchups. And then last up, we got Bashful Pwny, who seems to have already lost the squad, I'm guessing. Right now we've got the Warboss. Look at how much bigger the Warboss is than the Commissar. But the Warboss is, of course, yet another tanky melee hero, because this game is full of them. And he's really big. He can walk through cover, but he can still be suppressed and knocked down. And he can also stomp to disrupt melee units in his own way. Alright, so we got Selenon Fissure, not a commonly seen map at all, pretty much. Definitely not in Elite, and I feel like you don't even see it that much in Retail. Now, Selenon Fissure, it kind of has these cliffs preventing a direct approach to the middle VP, or in here we just have a gap, a fissure even. Just blocking the approach to the middle, so you kind of have to take indirect approaches to the middle. And for some reason, this is just not a commonly played map at all. I don't think it's even that commonly played in Retail. It makes me wonder if it's even on the 2v2 random map selection for matchmaking, although at the same time, I almost never really played 2v2 on matchmaking in Retail. But we have a significant difference in the squad counts. VoodooShaman going with just very quickly getting 4 squads out on the field. Triple scouts into tactical marines. Those scouts very, very cheap, so you can very easily get a lot of them. And then he also got tactical marines on top of that. So he's going to be putting out a lot of ranged DPS. I think he also said he's going to be going for triple scout snipers, which is always fun. It's definitely going to make life very hard for Bashful Pwny and probably for Trippy as well. And right now, Stone Commissar and VoodooShaman do seem to pretty much be taking the map and pretty much winning. It's 500 VPs to 400. There's a 100-point VP lead, and the red team has not managed to take anything yet. And, I mean, one thing they might be suffering with is just the higher unit count of the blue team. In addition to higher unit count, the blue team is also emphasizing a lot of range damage. Here we might have a guardsman squad going down already, cutting it very close, but I think that's actually one guardsman squad down already, which is very, very sad. We actually have a power farm here on this power farm, which I actually feel is slightly contested, so I'm surprised to see it on that one, because we do have more natural power farms for the red team over here and over here. Alright, one squad of sniper scouts is up. And we already have the triple sniper scouts, so we have double sniper scouts so far. That's where pretty much all of VoodooShaman's power has gone to. And wow, Trippy, on the other hand, VoodooShaman almost looking like he's going to spend too much power in Tier 1, going for a triple sniper scout build. Trippy probably not spending enough in Tier 1. Not really getting much aside from he's got stormtroopers, a strike squad, and a bro captain weapon. Meanwhile, oh man, double sluggers with burnas. Definitely going to be taking out generators very, very quickly. You don't even really need the burnas to make sluggers effective against generators. Although it certainly makes them better. One slugger squad does get out of there with 2 out of 6 models. Now, Stone Commissar did have that triple guardsman build at first, which is actually... It can actually be very, very good just because of the range damage you get out of just straight up getting more squads, and guardsmen are cheap enough that you can... that it's not such a big deal to just straight up get more of them. Stone Commissar now also with Catachan Devils out on the field, which these days I've been hearing a lot about Imperial Guard players saying that Catachans are not really the greatest purchase. Not saying that it's not true, but there are definitely still things that can work about them. Like right here, they could shotgun blast those Storm Boys that are coming in. Shotgun blast. You know, I think the Catachans right now would actually be a pretty good purchase considering all the melee. Considering the fact that Bashful Pwny pretty much went for a strictly melee build. He's got his Warboss, he's got double sluggers, he's got a Pain Boy and Storm Boys. Bashful Pwny does not have range damage. He pretty much does not have any range damage. He's only got the very, very minimal range damage coming out of the sluggers from all of his Orc melee squads. The sluggers, of course, referring to the pistol rather than the melee weapon. Meanwhile, Trippy already getting a Dread out when neither Stone Commissar nor VoodooShaman are in Tier 2. They aren't that far off, but then they also need to get some kind of Tier 2 weapon. Although, with the particular heroes they're playing, I don't think they'll be hurting that badly if they can just stall things out for a little bit and then get some kind of anti-vehicle weapon. Certainly for VoodooShaman, stalling out a little bit and then making his first Tier 2 purchase, the Power Fist. We have now Storm Boys jumping in with Ard Boys. Once they get to Tier 2, I think they'll be very, very good for dealing with that Sniper Scout blob if they stay as a blob. Because once they get that... Right now, part of what the Sniper Scouts are doing is that they're just running away from all these Storm Boys. Once the Storm Boy knob goes up, he'll be able to stun that whole blob, and then most of those scouts will just be at the mercy of the Storm Boys, or they'll just have to straight up retreat out of there immediately. Although that's assuming that Bashful Pwny, or rather VoodooShaman, keeps them just as a blob and doesn't decide to split them up. Of course, probably just keeping them as a blob just because it's easier to handle than that way. But we do have this Grey Knight Dreadnought out right now for maybe a minute or two. Will be completely unopposed. So that will allow Trippy and Bashful Pwny to just take back the field. Over here, we now have a Strike Squad, pretty much fully upgraded. I don't know if they have Nemesis Focus. Actually, I believe Incinerator. I don't think you can get Nemesis Focus with an Incinerator, but I'm not sure. Either way, we do have an Incinerator upgrade as well as the Justicar. So we definitely have a lot of investment in the Strike Squad. I feel like Trippy really needs to focus on getting units. Particularly, he needs to get a new Stormtrooper squad. Maybe try to get the Sergeant on that Stormtrooper squad to increase its durability, since he had a Stormtrooper squad that he lost. And he had invested a bit in that Stormtrooper squad. Alright, but we had the Guardsmen chasing down all of Trippy's units. Chasing down them a lot on the power of Catachans charging forward, and if they force melee, that's going to be really bad for the Strike Squad. Alright, but... Alright, yeah, now that's exactly what's going to happen right there. All of those units right there, that was 2 or 3 squads. The tax might even go down. Certainly cutting it very, very close. But that stun from the Storm Boy squad with their knob definitely punished VoodooShaman very, very hard for blobbing up all of his units like that. He's still blobbing basically with all those Sniper Scouts with attacks. If he de-blobs a bit, he'll be a bit less vulnerable to the Storm Boys. Might even take out a Catachan Devil squad, and Catachan Devils go down for Stone Commissar. Now we have a Las Cannon heavy weapon team as well as a non-Las Cannon heavy weapon team. We also have a War Truck out for Bashful Pwny. So we have vehicle plays. So I mean, the red team went for the shorter tier 1s. They were losing that starting tier 1 in part because they just what the builds were. Bashful Pwny was very much going to be at the mercy of the sniper scouts. You know, Trippy himself was as well. And wow, Trippy now actually going straight to tier 3. So we had a quick Dreadnought out of him. We might also see like a quick Paladin out from him. I don't know how quickly he can get out a Land Raider Crusader, but he's just like not really buying units so that he can just straight up tech. And right here we see the Bro Captain pretty much just ignoring the Force Commander. So the Force Commander is going to get a double cap off. Meanwhile, oh man, that's not good. That could be the end of this War Truck. Yeah, War Truck is not getting out of there. One more shot, and that's the end of the War Truck. So that War Truck, I feel like, didn't do a whole lot, quite sadly. Now we got Bashful Pwny with he's got fully upgraded Sluggas, 2 squads of fully upgraded Sluggas. He's got Storm Boys with their knob. I don't know if they're fully upgraded because I don't know if they have the rocket kit or pack for using Bomber Boys. But either way, we still have bigger unit counts from the blue team. Now the blue team is definitely they're definitely in tier 2 for now, and it's going to be a little while before they are not tier 2. All right, there we had a man. Bashful Pwny definitely has a lot of power to be aggressive with the build that he has. And he was charging forward with those Sluggas, but so far the Sluggas have been forced off. Heavy weapon team has been forced off, and in fact many of the units here have been forced off on the power of that Hell Fury strike. So red team actually managing to win that engagement quite miraculously. I don't know. It seems amazing the way they're staying in this game with less. But of course, there is still this vehicle out on the field, which, by the way, without stormtroopers, cannot be repaired. Bashful Pwny can repair the Dreadnought with his Sluggas. That he can do a little teamwork, get some repairs like that. But I think Trippy, and he's going straight to Paladins. I think after he gets his Paladins, he's also going to want to replace his original Stormtrooper squad. Alright, over here we have some more Orc boys trying to bash this power, but they are getting forced off by the heavy weapon team. This late heavy weapon team purchase actually worked out very, very well. We do have a very anti-infantry build from the blue team, but they do definitely have some AV in there. The Force Commander with that Power Fist, and we do have that Las Cannon heavy weapon team. Catachans even have their Meltagun Sergeant, which, wow, just look at those sniper shots, forcing off the repair support for those Grey Knight Dreadnought, and that's actually going to be it for the Dreadnought, out of position, and it just goes down. Didn't bring it all the way back to base. So the Las Cannon started taking shots, as did the Catachan Devils. But the Catachan Devils can get a Meltagun with the Tier 2 Sergeant upgrade, which, it's only one Meltagun, but as much as it doesn't seem like much, it's AV coming out of another source, which, believe it or not, does make a huge difference. So the blue team now pretty well established up north, and it's actually soon going to be a triple cap for them. The red team need to get something done, and they're still have the smaller army, period. So the blue team is just deciding to bash the red team's power, as long as the red team is not doing anything about it. So the red team is deciding to bash the blue team's power. Now at this point in the game, the power income, it's certainly not going to be as big of a deal as it would be if we were bashing power in Tier 1. It can certainly it can definitely do some things, especially if they lose some units and need to get some more. But I think the bigger thing that's going on right now is just the act of bashing power is going to kind of bait one team into moving, into changing their position. And that's exactly what we see happening. The red team was established up, the blue team was established up here, and in response to that power bash, they started moving south.
Understood.
We now have triple sniper scouts that have also infiltration, but they do not have their sergeant. But I mean, the effect of these sniper scouts is that they're typically taking out half of an orc squad in one volley. Alright, paladins teleporting in aggressively, dangerous, but at the same time, it's working for them. Catachan Devils, meanwhile, taking too much damage from everything. And we also have some Plasma Cannon Devastators taking shots. The paladins have been stunned by the Emperor's Fist ability from the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought is now upgrading to the Assault Cannon. I think you should cancel that Assault Cannon because he is most likely going to lose that Dreadnought entirely. But he does follow through with the Assault Cannon upgrade, so he sunk those resources on a Dreadnought that just died. And Red Team managed to take that engagement very decisively. So in spite of everything, that actually managed to end up being a very decisive engagement for the Red Team. Taking out the Dreadnought, which was, I feel like, very recently purchased, and taking back the whole, pretty much the whole map in the process. We now got a battle wagon coming out from Bashful Pwny, and I mean, at this point, now that they've actually managed to last this long, I think they can actually stay in this game, especially with Bashful Pwny getting a battle wagon. Maybe Trippy can get some kind of new unit of his own. Not even sure what, but I mean, if he just gets something, the red team, or Trippy, will finally have a 5th squad, which he has never had in this game, or a 5th unit besides his hero. We have sniper scouts taking shots again. Not going to be... Certainly, they're primarily going to be effective against all the orc squads, the storm boys, and the sluggers. They won't be quite as effective against the storm... Well, they'll certainly be effective against the stormtroopers, but the power armor squads for the Grey Knights. Back here, we got Imperial Guard now. Wow, Imperial Guard... Guardsmen with flamers. I feel like I didn't see that upgrade early on. I don't know if that's a late upgrade just to bash generators. Could actually work well to do area of effect damage to the orc squads if they can get disrupted or controlled before they can get in range of the guardsmen. And here we just have another power bash. So a lot of power bashing going on. Nobody has power at this point. We got plus 36 for VoodooShaman and plus 19 for Trippy. I guess with the blue team still having a little bit of a farm over here. But this battle wagon does not have a squad in it, and it really needs to have something in it to have its full effect. Bro Captain goes down. And VoodooShaman, meanwhile, I missed it, but he lost his Plasma Cannon Devastator. So now, and he's getting new Plasma Cannon Devastators. With the resources he has, he could put down Terminators, he could start getting... We could have been working on a Land Raider Redeemer. Not saying that either one is necessarily the correct choice, but just that he has more options than a Plasma Cannon Devastator. That being said, he got the Plasma Cannon Devastator, and he might still be able to get... He definitely still has the resources for Terminators. Oh man, if we have a Bomber Boys on this Guardsman squad, that might be it. Meanwhile, though, we have a heavy weapon team just suppressing all those orc units, so Trippy teleports in with the Paladins, a little risky considering he's teleporting offensively, but he's generally using it in situations where they can win at least. Can he finish off the Guardsman squad as well? Oh man, I feel like a Flamer, just like a Flamer burst from, or an Incinerator burst from the Paladins would have taken out that Guardsman squad. As it is, he did take out the heavy weapon team, but now Trippy, not paying attention, actually losing most of his other squads. What happened? So he just lost his Strike Squad and his Purgation Squad while I was watching his Paladins. I'm going to assume he lost his, Strike Squad and Purgation. I'm going to assume he lost them because he was watching his Paladins. Now they're going for a cap because they need to. I think the Paladins might want to turn around and start attacking the Force Commander, they will actually force him off very quickly. But if the Paladins just let the Paladins just let the Force Commander attack, they actually will take a lot of damage. I mean, now, if the Paladins had started attacking the Force Commander earlier, he might have had to teleport away earlier, and then they could have just kept capping. But we see this Battle Wagon still with nothing in it, which the Battle Wagon does not have full functionality without having at least one squad inside. It doesn't. The shooters don't work, and it goes much slower. So I think he should just put one of the sluggers inside. This one right here, probably without the knob. I think he should put that inside, especially since it seems to be a little while before he's going to be able to get a knob for this Slugger Squad. So yeah, put this Slugger Squad inside the Battle Wagon so that it can have full speed, full shooters, and also a squad that can get out and repair it when necessary. Painboy capturing this point right now. Painboy living surprisingly long, and he's got the stronger Git Sauce. I wouldn't be surprised. It's hard to tell just from watching the replay, but I wouldn't be surprised if he had the surgery kit so that he could give one of his squads some kind of buff. He could give what would probably be really, really powerful is if he gave the knobs the speed upgrade. That would actually probably be really, really ridiculous. Or if he gave the knobs the damage upgrade, or if he gave the knobs the durability upgrade. Either one, any of them would actually be good, although I think the speed upgrade would probably be the best. Alright, I think the Battle Wagon needs to go back south. Ignore the power farm. The power farm is not a priority at this point. I mean, not to say that it doesn't do anything, but definitely right now, it's definitely more important to hold the VPs, and the Commissar Lord is about to get a double cap back. They really don't want to let that happen. So triple Sniper Scouts about to open up on something. Meanwhile, oh, we have knobs in retreat. That's just a flare, and we have this Land Raider Crusader from Trippy. Actually manages to scare off the Commissar Lord somehow. And meanwhile, oh, that's going to be the end of Plasma Cannon Devastators again. So Plasma Cannon Devastators just not working out. And this is actually a really, really bad situation for Terminators. I don't know if they were called in right now, but it's a really bad situation to put them in right in against Knobs, against Storm Boys with User Choppas. And I mean, they are winning against the Storm Boys just because the Storm Boys have so much less health, but the Storm Boys also have the potential to do a lot of damage to the Knobs, to the Assault Terminators, rather. And those Assault Terminators, yeah, they were in bad positions the whole time, pretty much. And Red Team now actually very comfortably in this game. They're still definitely behind in VPs, but otherwise I would say very comfortably in this game. They are going to have to worry a little bit about taking damage from this. Now, Plasma Weapon Expertise Kashyyykin squad that can definitely do a lot of damage to the Knobs, as well as the Paladins, as well as everything. This is actually a really bad position for the Paladins, and they need to just get out of there immediately. So I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, Bashful Pwny just lost a Slugger Squad. I'm trying to think of what else they can do, but Stone Commissar losing things right now. Unfortunately, he's playing his Imperial Guard, just taking too much damage in the face of a huge amount of range fire. Oh man, Stone Commissar falls apart. Lost one Guardsman squad, lost a Catachan, lost a bunch of, well, lost two Kashyyykin models, and lost his Commissar in a position where he's not going to be getting that Commissar back too soon. But that was actually a huge victory for the Red Team, as much as Trippy still not even having much in terms of squads. Now, one thing we should keep in mind, though, is Bashful Pwny is sitting on 560 red, VoodooShaman sitting on 553. We could definitely very easily see a nuke come out of either one of these players. I think it would actually be, behoove, that's a very nice big word, behoove Bashful Pwny to use his rock sooner rather than later, maybe to get that advantage early so that they can keep the field after forcing VoodooShaman and Stone Commissar off at a time when they can no longer afford to give up too many VPs. So if we can have maybe, if the Sniper Scouts manage to somehow blob up also with the rest of Stone Commissar's units, I think a nicely placed Rocks from Bashful Pwny could be the game in favor of the red team. Do have a Leman Russ out now. Leman Russ, a very, very tough and durable tank. And I think the Paladins are now might be overextending themselves, as well as this Land Raider Crusader, to be honest. I think they need to move back. This positioning for the Land Raider Crusader is also very potentially dangerous. So triple cap for the red team. VoodooShaman going to get a decap off on this point right here, but they need to get 2 points decapped very, very quickly. Actually, they need to get 2 decap. They need to get 1 at least decapped and 1 fully capped. So we now have our standoff, and now it's actually VoodooShaman using his nuke first. He's going right on top of the Land Raider. He did get the Stormtroopers fully in there, but everything else is kind of getting out of there, except for Bashful Pwny walking straight into it with his Storm Boys. They're moving forward, and the Force Commander's actually going to go for the decap off on this middle point. That's the only chance for VoodooShaman and Stone Commissar, even though they now have the bigger armies. But yep, we see this. The Force Commander's going right there, and he'll actually be able to at least get the decap off. Now, one thing they could really do is if they just push forward into base, this would actually be another perfect time for a Rocks. Since nukes in base tend to work out very well since your opponent can't retreat away from them. And now, if anything, it might even be the red team pushing their luck. Wow, we had the Force Commander right there stopping everything, but I think this is actually now going to go in favor of the red team. Valiant effort by the blue team at the end, and a valiant effort by the red team to bring this game back, because we now have a single cap for the red team with the Storm Boys decapping the bottom power point and starting cap for the middle one as well. And Stone Commissar calls a GG. We had quite a comeback from Trippy and Bashful Pwny. And there's that Rocks that I've been waiting for. All right. Hope you enjoyed the cast. Have a good night.